Collaboration is a crucial component to any work that we do within Google Drive. Luckily, Google software makes it very easy for us to share our work with other folks and also decide some of their permissions when we're sharing anything like documents or presentations. Let me show you how it's done. So as here we can see I'm on my Google Drive file. And to share, we have a couple different ways of doing so. We can either highlight over the file that we want to share and right click, and we'll have the ability to share a link that way. Or we can go ahead and click on one of our files. At the top of the page here, once we click on it, you see that we have a couple different options here. To share any file, we're going to click on this plus icon here. And here is going to activate some of our share settings. The very first thing we're going to do is add people in groups. And in here, you can type in the name of anyone in your organization who you want to share the file with. So I'm going to share with Ethan and Carlos. And when you do so, you can choose whether or not they're going to receive an email notification, letting them know that you have shared this link with them. And you can also type in a message here. You say, hey, could you provide feedback on this instruction sheet? Those messages could be a nice thing to include just as a way of just getting some additional details and letting the team know or the recipients know what it is specifically that you want them to look at. To the right here, you also see that we have a couple different options here. So it's labeled as editor. So by default, anyone that you share this file with will have editor access, meaning that they can go ahead and jump into the document and they can suggest changes or even make changes directly on the document themselves. Now let's say, for example, I don't necessarily want them to edit anything on my page. They can suggest changes and maybe make some comments on it. Well, I can change their access level to commenter. And now they'll be able to make those comments on the document, but they won't be able to jump in and make edits right on the page itself. And if I just want them to view the file and not make any changes at all, I can change their access level to viewer. Going back for a second, you'll also see that we have additional settings here. If I click on this gear icon, you can see that we can change some of their permissions a bit more in detail. So by default, anyone who has editor access, so as we can see when we were sharing that, we were able to choose their access level here. We can select whether or not folks who have editor access can change permissions and share. So what that means is if I share this with Ethan and he has editor access and this is enabled, now Ethan can go ahead and share that same file with other people in the organizations, and Ethan can decide whether or not they can view, edit, or comment. So despite the fact that I am the owner of the file, if I share with Ethan and this is enabled, Ethan will then be able to change permissions and share that file along with other people. And if I don't want that, I can go ahead and just uncheck that there. This second option here, viewers and commenters can see the option to download, print, and copy. And again, this could be really important if we're working with some confidential files where we may just need folks to take a look at it, but we don't want them downloading it and saving it to their own personal files. We can disable this. And now when this file is shared, viewers will only be able to view it or comment on it, but they're not going to be able to download it, print it, or copy the file that you shared with them. Jumping back into our main share menu here. And the last thing we can do is, let's say we don't want to necessarily share a file directly with specific users. What we can do is we can actually get a link. We can copy that link and then attach that link to an email and then send it to a user as needed. Right? To do so, we're going to navigate to the bottom menu here and select Copy Link. And by default, it is set that only people added can open with this link. So by default, it is set that only the people that I share with at the top here will be able to copy that link there and use it. I can also choose to share with Aramark. And what that'll do is it'll now update the permissions. So now when I copy this link, I can choose to say that everyone in Aramark, so everyone in this group with this link can view the file. I can set it so that anyone on the internet with the link can view it. So it doesn't matter if they're part of my organization or not. If they have the link, they can view the file. And again, as you can see, I can change their access again. So I can make it so that anyone who views the file can edit, they can only comment, or they can only view. Or I can set it back to restricted so that only the people that I've added can view it. And then on the gear icon here, I have the option to select whether or not people in my organization can actually search for the file, meaning that if they go ahead and type in the name of the file, I can select whether or not that file will appear on their page. But once I'm all set with that, I can click on Done, and now that'll be shared. So if I shared with people specifically, it'll automatically notify them via email, and they'll be able to jump in right there. Or if I choose to send a link, I can copy this link, compose an email, send the link to the folks who I want to send it to. So there are a couple different options on how we can share our files to increase collaboration. And most importantly, there's a couple different ways that we can either restrict access or give access to different folks, which could be really important depending on the type of file that we're working with. If it's something more confidential, you may want to have a bit more of those restricted options just to make sure you're controlling how the information is being shared between the organization. But if it's something very general, you can go ahead and release the access, make everyone an editor, and now everyone will have access and will be able to make changes on the file as needed.
We hope this video helped. Make sure to click the thumbs up and click the subscribe button right here. And click the link above to check out our Limelight classes, a free virtual live training. See you in the next video.